Alrighty. Well, feel free to keep asking questions or voting up the ones you want to hear. We'll start with this first one. Is it appropriate to identify as one of those in the four soils? What does it mean if I identify as healthy soil but am in fact unknowingly unhealthy soil?
Is that if I identify as healthy soil but?
Am in fact unknowingly unhealthy soil.
I think Jesus is telling him that for, firstly, it does help us understand if you see people who begin to follow Jesus and then eventually walk away and stop. It kind of think, I understand Jesus says that's going to happen. But more than that, it's for us personally as a kind of, I think, a diagnostic thing to see, where am I? You obviously want to be the last soil that's productive. You think, well, wait a minute, have I really thought this through? Because trouble and persecution is coming. He promised it, okay? And it's worth doing a kind of a look around your life fairly regularly and see what is it that's actually choking out me following Jesus. Because the thorns grow up slowly, and it's not as if you ever get to a point where it's never going to happen. Like, I'm 65, I'm thinking about slowing down a bit next year. So I got the opportunity to sit around the pool, the drinks, the little umbrella, all that kind of thing. And plenty of thorns can grow so whatever stage of life you're at, you just need to be doing some gardening, I reckon. Just keep looking, see what's getting in the way. Because very often it'll be good things that get in the way. We've just got to stay focused.
So helpful. Thanks, Al. I should have mentioned that there are more questions than time that we'll have. So if we don't answer your question, it's not that we don't love you or your question.
Yeah, come and grab us afterwards. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Number 2, what advice would you give a newer Christian who is worried about whether they have good roots?
First thing, it's good to be worried about that. It's good to care. But I think you fundamentally, the Christian faith is about responding in trust to the promises of God that come to us in Jesus. And so the more you can actually learn and understand those promises and how the positive things of the Bible, how the Bible has answers to our questions, I think that's one of the best ways. Surround yourself with people who understand and love Jesus and will encourage you, and learn more about him yourself.
Awesome. 12 thumbs up on this one.
Okay, it's a big one, yep.
Yeah. If people can grow out of the kingdom or the word, does that mean that someone can be unsaved, or are we once saved, forever saved?
Yeah, good question. If God, in the book of Ephesians, the Apostle Paul says that before the creation of the world, God, because he's God, chose to take the initiative to rescue some people, to save them, right? And to bring them to himself. In the first part of the letter to the Philippians, he says, if God's begun that good work in you, he'll keep it going, right, to the day of salvation. But we're never told to put our trust or faith in that. We're told to put our trust or faith in the fact that Jesus died for us and hold on to that, and we'll have the promise of eternal life, okay? And so someone starts, they look like they're Christian, they keep following, and then they walk away. Well, were they one of the elect? Were they not? It's above my pay grade. I'm just going to be saying to people, trust Jesus. He'll look after you. Okay? So the problem with, asking all the time, am I one of the elect or am I not, or whatever, people start then saying, well, if you were one of God's chosen, here's the list of rules that you'd be obeying, and here's all of the things that you do, and here's that. No, look, just keep trusting Jesus, you'll be okay. I think one of the main reasons that the Apostle Paul talks about this idea of election, of God choosing people, is to keep us humble. So like why did I choose to follow Jesus years ago, and why have I? It's not that I'm a great person or whatever. God just had mercy on me. And that's what Paul's saying. You guys think you're really special? Nah, God's special. He chose you. Be humble. Yeah? So sorry if that's a long answer, but don't put your faith in one of the elect. Put your faith in Jesus, that he died for you. You'll be okay.
Yeah, that's great. So helpful. Any advice on what to say to a friend who is becoming indifferent towards Jesus and their faith?
Yeah. I've got people that I would count as close friends that I really have walked away from the Christian faith, and that's a real heartache. Rarely is it one catastrophic event. Usually it's a series of kind of little decisions that become more and more of a problem. And I think it's your friends who really care who'll speak to you and tell you the hard things. Now, you've got to do it in the right way. You've got to stand beside them. You're not judgmental, arm around, us, all of that touchy-feely stuff, right? Get it right. But speak to them. Tell them. And usually earlier rather than later is a help. There's a proverb that says, the wounds of a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses. So I know there's a few times people have had a hard word with me, and I think later, whoa, yeah, well, you can tell who your mates are. Yeah.
That's helpful. All right, final question. I might invite the band up if you guys want to join us while I ask this final question, and then we'll sing a song. If God has chosen to reveal himself to certain people and not others, does that mean that not everyone will get a chance to enter heaven?
God will be just in how he judges people. And you will be, by the way, I say this with heartache and a tear in the eye, okay? God will be just in how he judges people. And that is, you'll be judged on what you've done, but also by how much you knew of God and how much had been revealed. So in Romans chapter 2, the Apostle Paul says, God will judge us by our consciences, and people who had God's law will be judged by that. If you didn't have God's law, you won't be judged, right? So you'll be judged by what you know. And God will be just in how he treats everyone. What the doctrine of election, as the Bible is about, is God taking the initiative and showing mercy to some and like rescuing them. Okay? So God's just with everyone and particularly has mercy on some. The question that then asks is, well, why some and not all? And the answer is, I don't know. I don't think we're told that. And so we need to trust that God is God and he knows what he's doing. But the doctrine of election gives hope that anybody can become a believer, and that God can work in people's hearts, and should give us great encouragement to want to talk to people about Jesus and see, will God be at work in their life? Yep.
Yeah, awesome. Al, thank you so much. If you still have questions after, feel free to grab Al. Otherwise, can we thank Al for his time tonight?
I'm back again next week.
Next week. See you here the same time.